Hi, today is Thursday, the last day of the week, and we're doing the 75th case. This is we've come a long way. And today's topic is titled Subsolid Nodule with Cystic Air Spaces. So this is a 65-year-old went for a calcium score CT. They found an incidental nodule, and then a PET CT was done. These are the lung window images from the PET CT, and the red arrows are the subsolid component. You have the green arrow showing the cystic air spaces, and you have the yellow arrow showing the solid component, or what we would call the part solid component. And this is what subsolid lesions are. They could be pure ground glass, part solid, where you have the ground glass and the part solid component. And here's an eccentric part solid lesion. Um, and then based upon their size, how they are found, etc., you have a set of guidelines. And in general, less than 6 you would leave alone. And usually, when you find a lesion, the first thing you do is do nothing and wait for 3 months and then decide what to do. And I had posed this question a couple of weeks ago when we were looking at this patient with the non-resolving subsolid lesion, and I asked, what would you do? Because the lesion had grown minimally to mildly over a period of 9 years. And these were the choices: wait, biopsy, resect. And I actually said that even if you waited with active surveillance, that would have been fine, or you could resect it right away. Well, the patient opted for a biopsy, and we're still awaiting the results. So, this patient is more complex. You've got subsolid, part solid, greater than 6 cystic air spaces. These are on the coronal and sagittal, and I think the sagittal image is great because you see all three components in a single image, and the lesion measures at the maximum anterior-posterior is 29 millimeters. So it's still an under 3 centimeter lesion. You could use the Fleischner Society guidelines for subsolid nodules and say that, okay, this is part solid, it's greater than 6 millimeters. As a rule, you assume this to be very highly suspicious and deal with it accordingly. And it is a suspicious lesion because you've got three components and it's very complex. So what would you do? Wait, biopsy, resect, PET, CT. PET was done. That those lung window images were from the PET. Minimal uptake. That doesn't change anything. But no nodes, no distant lesions. And so then you could go in for resection right away. Right. That is always an option in a high volume center after a multidisciplinary meeting with everybody on board. But in this case, and like I said, there are no right or wrong options here because you could wait for 3 to 6 months. It's unlikely. These are usually very slow growing, so it's not going to make a difference. You could biopsy or you could resect. So they opted for a biopsy and it showed adenocarcinoma as expected. So the biopsy was done from the solid component, and I had to take care to bypass and make sure I didn't go through the cystic air spaces, just for fear of creating a pneumothorax. Now it's a localized less than 3 centimeter lesion, N0, M0, so it'll probably get resected, removed in whatever type of surgery is done. So the moral, or not the moral, the learning here is that each subsolid lesion is different. Every patient is different. And so you have guidelines. You have Fleischner Society, you have a general set of guidelines which give us a sense of what to do. But they're a guide. They're not, kind of hammered in stone. It's something that we use to help us make decisions. And in this patient, based upon the morphology which suggested a complex lesion that was very likely malignant, and the fact that there was no spread, a decision was taken to do a biopsy, turned out to be adenocarcinoma, and now the patient will get treated. So it's just important that we learn how to identify such subsolid and complex lesions, and that's what we've done here. That's the classroom and that's the WhatsApp channel. Thank you so much for viewing this.